Hi, loves. So, when the dark comes, we're here. I'm in Ashland, Oregon, and the wintertime has come, and everything's getting dark inside of me, around me. Life is entering the fallow. And I know that for a lot of you, either on the external or on the internal, that's also what's happening. And it is so counterintuitive, it's so counterculture to enter that place. It is very much not what is exalted in our cultures. The fallow, the not knowing, the exhausted, the I don't have anything to give, I don't have anything to show, that place of internal dormancy and fallow. And it often feels like there's nothing. Nothing lights up. Nothing calls forward. Things lose their meaning a little bit. I mean, it is fallow. So I wanted to spend a moment with you just honoring and understanding and giving some context around the fallow time so that it can be, it's often an uncomfortable time because it's an immersion into the unknown and because so many of us attach security to feeling not fallow. But this is natural law. This is a part of the cycle of fruition, is to become fallow. So I wanted to spend a little time with context and invitations for the fallow time, for the dark time. So first of all, let's just think about it. When the dark comes, what it's doing is surrounding you in mystery. What's ultimately true about fallow times is that we don't know. What we're dealing with is the unknown. Remember that you can take and have the statement of not knowing as a statement of power rather than a statement of despair. So when you're entering a time that you don't know, and that's the truth of it, say, name, own that. Don't try to fight the dark and know something that you don't know. So you don't know where your life is headed. You don't know what's happening. You don't know what you're feeling. You don't know what that whole experience was about. You don't know what happened in that relationship. There's an invitation here to come into relationship to the mystery that may not make it comfortable, but is a way of understanding the right place of the fallow time. A lot of this is about just giving the thing its true name and then finding your true place in it. So the true name of this time is that it's fallow, it's dark, and nothing's growing, right? Your true place in it is that you're in the mystery. So the power in that time, the place to find nourishment, just the place to find a place, to find some orientation in the midst of a fallow time, in a dark time, is to just orient to the mystery. I don't know. And from that, please show me. Or I don't know and I offer it up. There's not much to be done when you honestly accept that you don't know. Right? And we're not talking about things that you could go get educated about or that you could figure out in any other way. What the dark asks is that you stop trying to figure it out and you take some rest and you allow for incubation and you allow for gestation. And in that, you may not know what's growing under the surface. You may not know when it will blossom. It will feel like it may never come back again. I can tell you, just like I can tell myself, that the natural cycles don't work like that. Fruition, blossoming, fruiting, abundance gives way, goes into dormancy. The seeds go into the ground. There is a period of time where life is underground and it's having its own mysterious timing in the greater cycles of things and emerges on its own. But it does emerge with care, with as long as it's maintained inside of the natural cycles of warmth, of water, of care, of nurturance. It does emerge again, but we don't have control over it. And that's a lot of what the dark time will bring us up against, is a surrender into what we cannot control. If you're in a truly dark or fallow time, you can't all of a sudden decide that you've had enough of it and why don't you just go work out and do your next business or, fix it in therapy. You can do all those things, but they won't necessarily shift you out of a fallow time. True fallow times, just like true grieving times, which of course they're very connected, have their own rhythms and their own timings. So in that, the other thing that is to be truly named is that you do not have control. So when you don't have control, where is your personal power? It's obviously not in controlling, but it's finding the surrender rather than the submission. So don't just submit. Okay, I can't control. Oh, I'm helpless. Oh, I give up. Oh, no, don't submit, but surrender. Surrender says, okay, I can't control this. I accept. But I can choose this moment and the next moment and the next moment. These simple choices. I can choose whether or not I will honor this fallow time or fight it. I can choose whether or not to ask for help or create support, or I can choose whether or not I'm going to lean into my deeper resources. Let this change me. Let this incubate me. Or if I'm going to submit and act like I have no power in this situation, in the dark, you don't have control and you don't know what's happening, but you haven't lost your power. You haven't lost yourself. You may lose your orientation. You may lose what you thought you were. You may lose the things that made you feel secure on the outside. You may lose your sense of purpose. You may lose all those things, but what it will bring you into is incredible intimacy with just what you are every moment. Again, you may find nourishment and comfort and ease in that, but don't expect it to all of a sudden be fun. It can be nourishing. It can be a time of tending to your inner terrain. It can be restorative, but don't put pressure on a fallow time to be fun, to all of a sudden have a life that it doesn't have. It is going to have to emerge from inside. So as you move into the dark, if you are seasonally or internally, one final thing I would invite is that you recognize what the dark does. It comes around, right? It creates a certain intimacy. It's incubatory, right? It's insulation. When you see the dark as more of a place of shelter, a place of, there's nothing in this darkness. I'm going to just wrap in the darkness like a warmth, like a shelter, like a closeness. Then what you can find is that moment by moment, life will unfurl, right? You may not see the big picture. You may not know what to do. You may not know what's right. You may have no idea who you are anymore, and that is all disorienting. But the gift of the dark is to bring you into intimacy with your moment, and an intimacy, essentially, I would say with God, but with whatever you want to call that, where you are humbled, right? You have to face your smallness and your need for shelter, your need for restoration, and how much you don't know. So in that intimacy, One moment can unfurl into the next, and you can actually discover more deeply than you would have if you knew all the answers what you really are, what really moves you. The gift of the fallow time is that the only thing, if you wait, if you allow it to be fallow, if you nurture your ground, then what grows from that, what sprouts up from that, you can trust. It's really alive. It really, you put it in the ground. All of life sometimes seems like it goes into the ground. But then what comes up is what still has life, what is still living, what is ready to grow to the sky, right? And you can trust it. These are natural cycles, and they require a letting go. They require a shedding, but they are trustworthy. So in the intimacy of the dark, you can follow one little thing after the other. Don't try to figure it out. Wow, that candle flame is beautiful. I think I'll spend a little time just watching it. Oh, the apples are ripe on the tree. I think I'll cut some and bake them with cinnamon. Oh, I feel like I need to write about this. There's time here. There's nothing else I know to do. When you're in that place of, I don't know, the beauty of it is that you can gradually come to what you do know. And to, just to come to that place of recognition that the human life, our human lives, include fallow times. They're not here to crush us. They are not here to steal all the light from our skies forevermore. They are here to gestate and nurture what really wants to live. And it requires trust. And how you can ease it, how you can comfort yourself often in the dark, is to just get close to your moment, simple, slow. It's counterintuitive to what often arises, the panic, the desperation, the need to fix or change a fallow time will spin you off in a bunch of movements that ultimately usually don't help. A fallow time just is what it is, and the nurturance that comes in fallow time, what actually feels nurturing, what actually has life in it during a fallow time, is not at all what has life during a time of fruition. It's very different. So if you're looking for the life of a fallow time, you don't want to feel completely dead in it. You want to find, okay, where is the life here? It's different. It's not brilliant. It's not exciting. It's not bright. The life in the dark is mysterious life. It's under the ground. It's gentle. When you light a candle in the dark, it shines very bright, that single candle, right? So your intentions, your prayers, the beauties that you bring forward in the dark have an opportunity to really receive your fullness, right? So I encourage you, in the dark, light a candle. And when you light that candle, let it be a light to all of you, all that's become scattered of you, all the places that have gotten lost or fractured or hurt. And let that candle in your heart, literally on your altar, on your table, somewhere in your life, let that be your prayer, your offering to yourself, that you're ready for everything to come home. You're ready to gather. Come home to me, all of me, here in the dark. Let's go, all of me. Can you put all of yourself, gather yourself together and rest for a moment and restore? Because the promise of the dark, what's possible in the dark, is restoration. If you don't kind of bleed it out or fight it, trying to make a fallow time into a fruitful time, then what it can do is gather energy, gather you, and make you more true. Make the movements that are come from this place true to you. So in the dark, recognizing that the darkness is also shelter. It's incubating. Lean into what the true nature of the dark is. You can't see, you can't know, but you can wrap yourself, you can care for yourself, you can incubate, you can gather, and you can slow down and really let yourself not know, let yourself not see. If you have to say it again and again, because you'll have all the things go on in your mind, maybe people on the outside of you asking you, and it's a statement of power. I don't know. When it's true, it's a statement of power, and it allows what you know. It allows the truth of what you really do know to gradually make itself clear. Right? Trust the fallow times as much as you can. They are a part of natural law. You didn't do anything wrong. Nothing is broken. Nothing is going wrong. This is the cycle. This is the part of the cycle that you may be in. It's fallow. It's dark. There's a lot of mystery. So, when the dark comes, light a candle. Know that I and many people also rest in the dark now and at different times, and that this is a ripening, this is a gestating. The bleakness or the dimming is on the surface of things. Look towards your deeper nature, nurture that. And honor. The darkness asks to be honored. Grief asks to be honored. Not necessarily feared and not fought, but honored. Like, I see you, honored by I see you, I know you, I make a place for you here. I want to know you. I want to understand what you're here to give me. And in what way you're going to make me more of a human being, more of a carved out soul, and more of what I am, what I'm here to be. Blessed be.